everyone. Welcome to our smart interviews. And today's guest is our lovely Steph. And
Hi, everyone.
Steph is wearing our smart t-shirt. How pretty is she? Yes, we wanted to gift ourselves something cool for our lessons and handy to wear in the summertime, pretty much, isn't it? So it
Yep,
looks good, doesn't it? And she's so beautiful.
I like it. Yeah, it's comfortable. Yep, it's cool.
Yeah. So, Steph, today we would like to know a little bit more about you. We are going also to ask some odd questions or no, unusual questions. So we'll make it a little bit more interesting because some things you can't really tell them by asking general questions. So yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Let's start by asking where are you from, Steph? Because the interesting thing is that you have an Italian name and last name. So we want to know where that is coming from and what happened.
The whole story.
Yeah.
Okay, this is always a very interesting story, to be honest. When, especially when I have this conversation with students, and they say, "Oh, where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm glad you asked. That's such a good question." So basically, I'll go way back. My mum and dad are Italian, hence the name. So my dad's actually from Sicily, and my mum's was from between Rome and Naples, and then they moved to the UK to Leeds, in Yorkshire, and they had me and my sister. So, oh, in fact, I'm lying a little bit. They went first to Bournemouth in the south. They had my sister, and then they moved up to Leeds and had myself. Then they got fed up of England because basically the weather's rubbish, which I'm sure a lot of people know. And then my dad happened to find Tenerife on one of his travels and fell in love and moved the whole family over here when I was seven, nearly 8 years old. We moved here to Tenerife.
Wow. So let me ask, did your parents move from Italy to the UK because of work reasons, or because, well, coming from the south of Italy, sometimes it's hard to find work and to have a decent life. So I was wondering because that UK is not the first place for Italians to move to.
No, no. Well, they did have connections in the UK, so they had other friends and family members that had already made the move. In my dad's case, it was for work. Yeah, he wanted to find better work opportunities, and my mum actually wanted to study. She thought that the education, higher education options were better in the UK, so she wanted to study, and my dad wanted to find better opportunities for work.
Okay. So how did you feel moving at 8 years old from the UK to Tenerife? Was it a good experience? Were you sad?
Both, a bit of both. At
Mm.
first, it was very exciting. Moving to this amazing place where we could go to the pool every day or to the beach and, do fun things. And yeah, it was great at first. Then there was a period of adjustment where I missed my family and friends and things were different. And I went through a phase of missing a lot of my family and friends and the lifestyle, certain things I couldn't do anymore. And yeah, and then I went back the other way because at one point I was going to go back for education myself. I was going to go back to university. I applied for university, got accepted,
Mhm.
and then I changed my mind and I backed out and stayed here instead. So
Um,
it kind of came full circle where in the end I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to leave, so I stayed.
okay, that's interesting. That's another thing that I was thinking. I wonder if at a certain point, living on a small island such as Tenerife, for studying reason purposes, you will have to move out and go to a
Mm.
country where they can offer more choices. What was your choice? What university did you apply, sorry?
Well, I applied. It was for the University of Leeds,
Mhm.
actually, and what happened was at the time I wanted to go into paramedics. So I wanted to become a paramedic, and they offered but I was slightly too young to go into the paramedic service itself in the UK. So they said a university program would give you that first level. So I was paramedic studies in the university. Now, actually what happened, it got discontinued at the last minute. And then they said there was 3 different options. One was medical sciences, one was it nursing or something else? It was 3 options. And then I kind of thought, I don't want to go back to not do something that was my first choice. So I rejected the place, and then I stayed here, and then instead I found a course, because I live in the south of Tenerife. In the north of Tenerife, I did a first-year nursing course and an ambulance technician course, which is the equivalent of kind of a paramedic here. So yes, I did that instead.
That is so interesting. Every time I see an ambulance, I think about the people who are driving their ambulance, and they are going to, rescue somebody. And I'm like, how brave must you be to do that job? Like, are you not scared of what you could find? Wouldn't you feel bad for the people you find? Can you disconnect your emotion from the situation?
I could. Now, this is why, a bit of kind of how and why things changed, because at that time, I'm talking when I was between the ages of 18, 20 kind of time, I was fine. In fact, maybe about 18 to 22, maybe. My focus was on helping the people, so I could help them and yes, as you said, disconnect myself to the bad things. Although there were certain things that were traumatic or that had a big impact on me, I found I could easily get over them because the benefits outweighed the negatives. However, when I had children, things changed. When I had my own children, my own kids, I could no longer do that. And I found it really difficult. To be fair, I had actually given it up before that point. But then when that happened, it made it clear I could never go back to that sort of line of work.
Why? Why when you had children? Because is it because having children made you, I believe when you have children, then your emotion just feel like they are so much how would you say, amplified, yes. Is that why?
Yeah, you identify everything back to your child. So if anything bad happens, you think it could be my child, or it could be me, and I will leave my child without a mum. And yeah, it's a bit depressing. So, but these are the things that then go through your head when they didn't before. So that's the difference. It's either something happening, you worry about something happening to your child, or something happening to yourself. You identify more, you put yourself into place. If there's a car accident, you think, oh my God, that could be me or my child or both of us. Everything just becomes a lot more amplified, as you said.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so interesting. But kudos to you, because wow, that is such a beautiful thing to do as a job. Was it as a job or volunteering?
It was a job. It was a job.
Mm-hmm.
I worked both in the hospital, in the emergency. In fact, I was moved around the hospital in general, but I worked in the A&E and on the ambulances themselves. Although on the ambulances, it wasn't full time. It was more cover shifts that I used to do, and then be in the hospital when needed. So yeah.
But I do know as well that instead of doing that, you moved to a similar path, always trying to help people in a more psychological way.
Correct. Yeah. Recently, in the last few years, I kind of did full circle. I've done a lot of different things over the time, and then I thought I still want to help people, but I will go down the therapy and counselling route. So yeah, I've been studying counselling, therapy, and that's what I'm doing at the moment as well. Yeah.
That's so open-minded experience, if you may say so. And you learn so much as well about you, and it helps as well with your kids, doesn't it?
100%.
Yeah. How old are your kids, Steph? Let's tell us.
Yes, well, my older boy is 14.
Mhm.
My younger son is 5. And I also have stepchildren who are 12 and 7.
Wow, that's a nice crew. That's nice. Okay, so Steph, that is so interesting, and we would probably like to know more about your also like your therapy study, like psychological studies as well. It would be so cool to know to know everything about it. I think it's a very it's, let's say, it's a topic that it's becoming more and more useful nowadays, and people are looking into it in depth, and it's good.
Yes.
Like, we do need this. We are right now in a society where we are not, I think, going to the right direction, or everything that's coming into our mind is not exactly what we need as human beings. So yeah, somebody like you as well. And then obviously you also teach English, and that's another good thing to do. That's another kind
Yes.
of therapy, because you are,
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I do believe like teaching English, it gives so much to somebody, like giving another way of communicating with the world to somebody. I find it really um important. Like, it really I feel so good when I see somebody who can, speak the language that I taught it to that person, and they're happy with it. So yeah, is that something that makes you feel like that too?
Yes, yes, it is 100%. It's quite funny sometimes. Some of the English classes themselves end up as mini therapy sessions. Because the student then starts speaking about their life, and then it might spiral off on into a direction. And so I'm having to use my skills to identify with them, have empathy for them, not judge maybe what they're saying. Telling a story about. Yeah, and everyone has such diverse lives, so it's good to be able to, yeah, not judge and just listen to what they have to say. And that's where good listening comes into it as well. And also to see it from the student's point of view, if they are very nervous or they're anxious, or where do these fears of speaking a new language come into, and what can we do to make them feel better? So yeah, there's a lot of some conscious therapy and psychology going on with teaching a new language, or teaching in general, to be honest.
Absolutely. I always say that when people who are learning English, particularly, and they feel blocked, it's either obviously a personality side of it, but also the fact that we've been taught English pretty much in the wrong way from very early years in school. So it's good to tell them, look, it's not your fault if you feel blocked. It's just that you got the wrong information from early age. And but also it's about personality and fear of making mistakes, which is like, and it's not like what it should be, because if you make mistakes you can learn more. So yes, and I would love to do something with you, Steph, about it. Maybe we talked about this before already, but I would
Yeah.
love to create a little course to let people understand what is inside them that's blocking them, and how to work um on it.
Yeah, good
We should
idea.
do
Yeah,
it.
we'll have to speak more about that.
Yeah, we should do it, Steph. Right, Steph, I was thinking, let's start with those questions that they're a bit random, but maybe we could find out a little bit more about you. So for example, well, there you go. Since it's in your field as well. So what's your favorite famous or inspirational quote?
Okay, I have a few. Yes,
Mhm.
there's lots of them around. One of them that's quite relative to this is
Yeah.
obviously be kind, everyone is fighting their own battles. That is huge. And I always loved that phrase, even before it kind of became famous, like the whole be kind movement came into our social media a few years ago. But even before that, it's something I've always felt very strongly about. So, you know, being that you do not know what that person is going through. So don't be so quick to judge them on things or why they made that decision. You just don't know. So I think that's huge. I don't think people really internalize that as much as they should do. They like to say it, but I don't feel that their actions sometimes match their words, to be fair. So yeah, that's a huge one. Also, another one which is great, I think, for both in the therapy and English teaching is a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And that was Lao Tzu, a Chinese philosopher. And obviously, everybody's so not that they're impatient, but there is a pressure on people to do things or get somewhere immediately. And so when they're learning English, for example, they want to improve straight away, and it's not going to happen, unfortunately. It takes time, consistency, step by step by step. You know, it just doesn't happen overnight. And the same with the therapy. In one session, you're not going to solve all your problems. It's going to take time and effort, and yeah. And so don't rush. You know, just give yourself that time, and you'll get there.
Yes, and what I believe as well in learning English is that it doesn't necessarily comes progressively. What I noticed by learning two languages myself is that you get, the more you're consistent with it, even though like you might not see improvement for the first month, but you get to the point, and once you get to that point, you reached a really good point. You get to a point of a mental click, and you realize from one day to another, you're just like, oh, now I understand, and now I can apply it without any hesitation. So it's just get to that click, and it might not get to any improvement progressively, but you will reach that point. And yes, so it's true.
Yeah,
it is true. And talking about the first quote that you said, which was be kind, everybody's fighting his own battle. That's what I always tell as well my son. I think you can apply it to kids. When he comes back from school and says, oh, this kid told me that I'm a mean thing, or well, here in Spain is tonto.
yeah.
And I'm like, Ari is probably not happy with himself, or he's heard somebody who told them that, and now he doesn't know how to approach you, to play with you, and the first thing that comes out is such mean thing because he heard it from somebody or because he's insecure. So yes, it is something that I think everybody should realize. Nobody is naturally born mean. It's just something that they have inside in that moment, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Exactly.
Right, I will go to the next one. Oh, I like this one because I do know, and it's quite funny, what I would take with me to a deserted island. What would you take to a deserted island, Steph?
I hate this question. Because, right, I'll tell you why I hate it. Because it's I think it's a vague question. How long are you going to be on this island for? What sort of island is it? Are you going to be there for 30 days and then you're going to be taken off? Or do you have to find some, like, not just survival, but do you have to try and find rescue? So, you know, it's very difficult. However, I think, let me think. A lighter, I think, is important for fire, obviously. I know the theory of how to make fire, but I know in practice it's a lot harder than it seems. So to have a lighter to make fire, I think is essential, at least to start it, and then you can continue it on once you've got that first bit of heat. So that's important. A knife. I know it's very macabre, but obviously a knife's important. When I was hunting knives, they've got little other bits in it. I did think about a Swiss Army knife, but A, I don't know if that's cheating because it's got lots of things, and B, they're a bit like one little like penknife and a Swiss Army knife might not do much. So yeah, I think a hunting knife would be good. And then the third thing, I think a book. like a journal and a pen to write things down, I think would be important, both for mental health and for documenting things. I think that would be very useful. So I think those would be my three, but tough, very tough. We have a lesson on smart learning. There's an island theme, and you have to take the people on the helicopter, and I hate it because I can never decide which ones I want to take. So yeah, I'm really decisive in that way. Yeah. What about you?
Oh no, do I really have to say it?
You said you know. You said you know.
Well, no, I know one of them, because I always even tell doctors, and that's funny because it's true. Well, it's a bit like, I don't know if I should say it, but anyway, basically, when I go to the doctor and I need I need to tell them, look, I need to go to the pharmacy, I need how do you call that, a recipe?
A prescription.
A prescription. I need to, oh my God, I need to get a prescription for this pill that I take every day. And if I will ever have to move to a deserted island, I want this pill with me. So that is the contraception.
Even on a deserted island?
No, it's because of the pain I have. So I don't know.
I understand. Okay. I get you. Fair enough.
But it's a recurring question and a recurring answer that I literally tell the doctor, listen, if I will ever have to go to an island, I want this pill with me, because I really suffered every single month. It got to a really, really, really like scary place. So sorry, I don't know if that was appropriate for this interview, but
it's real life. It's real life. It's good vocabulary. It's new scenarios. Of course.
I never thought about the other ones really, because I just want that.
Well, that's fine. That's okay.
Right, Steph, I think we should go for the last question. Let me read which one I can ask you. Okay, this could lead to an interesting question because, well, what do you do? So to an interesting answer, sorry. What do you do before going to sleep? Because most people are now into Netflix stuff. So what do you do?
Well, that's actually a very good question. That is true. I, in recent times, probably the last more than 6 months now, probably a year now, to be honest, I have got into having a very good bedtime routine, because I feel that it's definitely helping me in the next day get through my day and through my life. So having a good bedtime routine, I think, is very important for good sleep, because you need good sleep, and to have a good wind down routine. So I now actually have a reminder on my phone that goes off at 10 p.m. and it says wind down time. So then from that point, so before that, I've probably, I don't know what I've done. I've maybe watched a bit of TV, or I've had the kids and normal life stuff. So then I start my wind down. And this involves journaling. So I come to bed and then I write in my journal things about the day, what's happened, things I'm grateful for, anything that maybe didn't go right that I want to change. And then I make a list for the next day. So for the day ahead, everything I have to do, so I know I'm organized. So I do that, or anything I want to note down. So I note that down. And then I do some reading. So it's off screen time, off social media. I've just finished, in fact, Breakfast of Champions, which was very random. Anyone's ever read it? Oh my gosh, it's random.
Random? Why? Like, is it like grow, how do you call that sort
of self-growth book?
Yes.
No, it's very much not. It's like a satirical book. I'm trying to think how to say it. It's definitely fiction. It's about America, and it's taking the mick out of America, really. It was written in the 80s, I think, late 70s, early 80s, and it's written like as if the people that are reading it don't know what certain things are. So it's written quite childlike, but about adult topics. And it's even got little drawings in it, and it's weird, it's random, but it's got very good reviews, and it's very clever in a sense. And yeah, so it's very interesting. If anyone's read it, they'll know what I mean. And if anyone hasn't, then yeah, maybe if you like that random stuff. Have you ever heard of oh my gosh, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
No.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is brilliant. It was a classic, and a lot of people will know that. There was a TV series done about it, and part of it was filmed. Was it the film? Part of the film was filmed in Tenerife.
No way.
Yeah, in Laura Park.
Tell again the title.
The second one or the first one?
The second one.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Wow. We'll write it down maybe on the if it's a suggestion, we'll write it down on the comments of this video. So
yeah, it's got it's very abstract. It's very random. That is science fiction. It is definitely. It was actually I want to say it's not a trilogy. It's I've lost the word now. When it's more like a saga. It was well, actually he takes the mick and says it's a trilogy in 4 parts, which it can't be because a trilogy means 3, but it's in 4 parts. So he kind of twists a lot of things. But it's very funny. It's very funny if you like that sort of thing. So anyway, but this book was similar to that. So that I was just trying to get a page on it. So I read a book. Anyway, going back to the original question. So I do my journaling, I read my book, and then depending on how sleepy I feel, usually by that time it's time to go to sleep. That's it. Or sometimes I'll listen to some frequency healing music sometimes.
Nice.
And that's it.
That's the beautiful routine, I think, because everybody now is into watching something, which is okay too, but maybe sometimes, yes, just to take some time for yourself and, feel yourself before going to sleep. Yes, it's good.
Yeah.
Stef, I think that was the last question, and I would like to thank you so much because we are all very interesting persons, and every time I have this interview I'm like, I'm gonna interview again because I want to know more. So yes, I think that was very helpful. We're gonna write down a few in the comments of this video, few expressions that you used, and the title of the book that you suggested. Perhaps we can also write the type of routine that you have, so somebody might get inspired by it. And so yeah, thank you so much, Stef.
You're welcome.
We will talk again.
We will.
Obviously we talk every day, but I would like to,
as if we don't speak.
But I will see you again in an interview, and we can talk more about your interesting life, way of thinking, and yes, we will also try to create that mini course about be more conscious of what is blocking us when we have to speak another language. And
things that can affect us, subconscious biases in our minds that can affect us while learning something new. So definitely 100%. So that sounds like a great plan. Thank you so much for having me, and I am happy to do this anytime. I could talk for England.
Thank you, Stef. So
okay,
have a
Daniela.
good day, have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.